Dangers of Hillary Clinton. This is what he writes. The dangers of a Hillary Clinton presidency are more familiar than Trump's authoritarian unknowns because we live with them in our politics already. They're the dangers of elite groupthink, of beltway power worship, of a cult of presidential action in the service of dubious ideals. Almost every crisis that has come upon the West in the last 15 years has its roots in this establishmentarian type of folly. The Iraq War, likewise the financial crisis. One can look at Trump himself and see too much danger of still deeper disaster, too much temperamental risk and moral turpitude to be an acceptable alternative to this blunder-ridden status quo, while also looking at Hillary Clinton and seeing whose record embodies the tendencies that gave rise to Trumpism in the first place. Can anyone explain what those tendencies are? Because I don't think it's just her.
Well, look,
I think it's Washington.
I think there's one problem that he's getting at right there and that Trump seized on, which is that the elite in this country, the media, people like me, people who serve in politics in Washington, are divorced and sort of apart from the rest of the country in a lot of ways. Average member of Congress is pretty wealthy. People who serve in the Senate are mostly rich. I think that there has been a problem that people who run the country don't always understand what it is like to be run in the country. And people feel divorced and disconnected. I think Ross gets at that in this piece.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think there are too many people in Washington who have been there far too long. The only jobs they've ever had are within the framework of politics. They completely miss the pain, the suffering that so many Americans endured during the winter of 2008 and 2009. They still don't seem to understand it. They don't understand the concept of loss. So many people lost homes, incomes, a hope for the future for their children, their 401k plans. These are the same people who put their children at risk of loss in the wars that we've been fighting for 15 years. And it seems just both in the Senate, especially in the Senate, in the House, they just don't grasp this.
Well, I think it's also such a frustration with what Washington has offered up and how those solutions just haven't led to better lives for people. And it's, you know, and looking at Donald Trump, one of his themes last night was tweeting about the new offensive in Iraq and in Mosul. And while his tweets are just categorically stupid, he's really, what he's hitting on is there's been so much confusion about what our role is these days in Iraq that he can just, you know, lash out. And no one wants to hear the elite say, well, this is what we're doing. This is why it makes sense. We're winning. It's just we've kind of missed that opportunity.